Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another live stream. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking. All right. So, what we're going to be talking about today are some changes that are being made in the media. You guys will notice a trend. A lot of the quote unquote left leaning, quote unquote liberal medias are starting to clean house. And what they're actually doing is they're moving in the same direction as the political climate of the United States, which is moving more towards a white nationalist, anti black racist sentiment as the baseline. All right. And what you will see is there's multiple reasons why they plan on doing this. The first reason that they plan on doing this is because they know that when it comes to having an independent media apparatus, we are way behind the ball. So most people don't admit it, but most people get their news from the liberal media. And that's because there's so much liberal media. Even content creators that people like, at some point you'll see them referencing an article from Washington Post. At some point you'll see them referencing an article from CNN. At some point you'll see them referencing an article from the New York Times. Occasionally you'll see somebody reference an article from Fox. All right. Occasionally you'll see somebody reference an article from New York Post. But for the most part, most of the news media is liberal. And a lot of this news media that's liberal has been getting their bread and butter from putting a black face in front of the camera while having that black face not directly address black issues. When it comes to these black people in the media, these characters that they put in front of the camera are just characters. They're characters, all right? They're not really there for you. They're there for their own talking point, if that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying? Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to everybody that's in the room. Got my man DJ Elmo in the building. What up with it, bro? Got Vovo 2 Love in here, Al McCowan in here, my man Cameron, Carla Lockhart, Mimi McCoy, got DIY Queen in the building. What up with y'all? Good to see everybody. So now what you're going to see in the future is all of the news is going to mirror the Fox News model. And you're going to see less and less and less black people. Now, the reason why that's going to be the case is for a couple reasons. For one, the news has two objectives. The first objective is to be a source of disinformation. And the second objective is to be able to scatter and interfere with internal politics. Now, being that there's not one centralized, standardized news media, that's going to make it extremely difficult for people to centralize their ideas and centralize their message. However, it's good that people have their independent and black media news that they watch. But what they're going to be doing is they're going to do that to knock out communication. They're going to do that to knock out focus. They're going to do that to knock out the ability to cohesively come together on issues. They have to do that for two reasons. The first reason is because they can no longer have the left-right narrative as a result of the cratering support for the ineffective Democrats that black people have. Have you guys noticed that? Remember, I told you guys this. When it comes to the media, they are not going to cover the cratering support for Democrats that black people have. No news media has done that. The liberal media has done it, but they've done it very in a roundabout way. Shout out to my man Tony D. What up with it? They've done it in a very roundabout way, and they're going to continue. Now, everybody knows that the Democrats are getting record, not getting support in record numbers. But what's interesting about it is that when it comes to that topic, when it comes to black people as a specific demographic, all you hear is the news media continue to say, we need black support. We need black male support. We need black women support. But they're not saying anything about the falling numbers. When it comes to the conservative side, the only thing that the conservative side talks about is how Latinos are flipping the vote, which is something that we talked about way earlier this year. So now my question for everybody in here is, why do you think that is? It's for two reasons: to interfere with communication, to interfere with movements. And the second reason is to continue to maintain the left-right narrative and to continue to have Black people appear as the front runners for the Democratic Party, which is clearly not the case. Now, why does that become problematic? That becomes problematic because they know if they have all of these news media outlets being downright blatantly anti-Black towards Black people, most people are not going to watch it. Again, it's another way to keep people in the dark. You're going to see this. I'm telling you, all of these people are going to be gone. Tiffany Cross, her time is numbered. You know what I'm saying? Simone Sanders, she's on her way out. But today, the people that we're talking about is Don Lemon and Trevor Noah. All right. And I want to show you guys some things about Don Lemon. All right. I want to show you some things about Don Lemon. And I want you guys to answer some questions and to pay very close attention to this. Shout out to Miss Jazzy and shout out to my man AB Promotions. And I agree, DIY Queen, they can't stand to give us credit for anything. They don't want to show our power. Facts. So since that's the case, then we have to show the power. Everybody, Cameron's getting started early. You know what I'm saying? He said Simone Sanders looked like Manny Fresh. So now it says here, a number of primetime cable anchors shrinks amid concerns about CNN's new direction. Now, let me ask you guys something. If these politicians, and if the media, if they do not use the same playbook, then let me ask you guys a question. Why is it that earlier in the year, all of the Black White House staffers were out? They were all leaving in record numbers. If you guys don't recall, my man TD Hip Hop Media, shout out to TD Hip Hop Media, did a video about that. As soon as Biden and Harris got in office, the Black White House staffers were out. You guys remember that? Why? So now look at the pattern. The news media, Black anchors dropping left and right. Why? Why? That's the question. They had plenty of opportunities to get Don Lemon out of there if they wanted to get him out. There was the issue when he grabbed that dude's balls in Florida. You know what I'm saying? There was the connection between him and Cuomo. They could have got him out of there. But they choose to get him out right now. Why? Don't you find it fascinating that they're yeah, he actually did grab somebody's balls down in Florida. It was a guy named Dustin Heiss, or I think it was Justin Heiss, for those who don't know. You know what I'm saying? He did that. You know what I'm saying? Then he also asked him, which does he like better, pussy or dick? You know what I'm saying? That happened. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's that's Don Lemon. You know what I'm saying? Doing shit like that. They let him stay working. And you know what I find fascinating? Speaking of that, he recently settled that. He recently settled that. So, do you guys think that that may be part of the that might be part of the conditions? Don Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what the hell happened. If you guys can hear me, give me a thumbs up. If you can't hear me, give me a thumbs down. I don't think they liked the things that I was saying about Don Lemon. I don't think they like what I was saying about Don Lemon. You know what I'm saying? I think they might be mad that my little tiny channel might get a little bit more views than that CNN streaming nonsense that they tried. Don Lemon assault case dropped by accuser after, quote, inner reflection and deep dive into his memory. You sure that's the only thing he took a deep dive into? Plaintiff Dustin Heiss said in a statement that his recollection of events that occurred that on the night in question were not what I thought they were when I filed the lawsuit. Now, how does that work? I mean, that's some shit that you would remember if somebody walks up to you, grabs your nuts, shoves their fingers in your face and says you like pussy or dick. I would remember that. I would remember people scooping the person who tried to do that to me up off the floor. You know what I'm saying? But apparently Dustin Heiss doesn't remember this. You know what I'm saying? An assault case against CNN anchor Don Lemon has been dropped by the plaintiff after going to trial in January. Court documents dated Monday and obtained by People naming Lemon, who is 56, as the defendant and Dustin Heiss as the plaintiff, state that the action should be voluntarily dismissed with prejudice. In a statement to People via his attorney, Robert Barnes, Heiss said of the news, after a lot of inner reflection and a deep dive into my memory, I have come to realize that my recollection of the events that occurred on the night in question when I first met CNN anchor Don Lemon were not what I thought they were when I filed this lawsuit. As a result, I'm dropping the case. That's interesting. Well, what happened? What happened then? How does that happen? Now, if you guys recall, this Dustin Heiss individual went on to Megyn Kelly's podcast and gave a whole testimonial of what he said happened. Not to mention, there's plenty of pictures out there online with him and Don Lemon sitting next to each other. You know what I'm saying? Lemon's attorney, Caroline, is that Pelosi? Polisi, also released a statement on Monday, which was obtained by The Hill, and called the lawsuit a crass money grab from its inception. This has been a long and difficult journey for Don. Out of respect for the judicial process and my advice, he had to remain silent in the face of a malicious and vulgar attack on his character, Polisi wrote. Unfortunately, here we go. Look at this. Unfortunately, being a, quote, gay black man in the media, he has to deal with these sorts of attacks all the time. This is not something that's very common, and I don't think that anybody has ever accused Don Lemon of something like this before. Have you guys ever heard of any accusations like this against Don Lemon before? If you guys have, give me a thumbs up. If you guys have not, give me a thumbs down. I have not. Matter of fact, I've never heard of any assault case like this ever at all in my life. You know what I'm saying? I've never heard of it. But now what I find fascinating is, since this happens so often, what I'd like you guys to do is, I want you guys to let me know about all of the struggles of the LGBTQ black men that you guys have heard about, because since these struggles are so often and prevalent, everybody should be able to give a testimonial about at least one. And honestly, to me, this sounds like a lover spat. So I don't consider this LGBTQ, difficulty that he had to deal with in media. The man, Dustin Heiss, is also LGBTQ. Cameron says, CNN is here in ATL. I know Don Lemon went to one of those orgies in June. I wonder if he's leaving because of monkeypox. Yeah, this is that story, Still My Beats. But I think that this has something to do with other things. The court's ruling fully vindicates Mr. Lemon and brings an end to this abusive lawsuit. Police did not immediately respond to people's request for information. Lemon had denied the allegations laid out in the lawsuit filed in August of 2019, stemming from an alleged July 2018 incident, which claimed that the anchor physically and verbally attacked Heiss, a bartender, during a night out in the Hamptons in Long Island, New York. In the lawsuit against Lemon, Heiss, who was working as a bartender at the Old Stove Pub in Sagaponack, claimed he recognized Lemon during a night out with the colleagues at Murph's Backstreet Tavern in Sag Harbor. Heiss claimed he offered to buy Lemon a cocktail, but Emmy-winning journalist declined the gesture, telling Heiss he was just trying to have a good time. The two had no further interaction until later that night, when Heiss claimed Lemon approached him and put a hand down the front of his shorts and vigorously rubbed his genitalia, removed his hand, and shoved his index finger and middle fingers into Heiss' mustache, the lawsuit alleged. The account then claimed that Lemon had allegedly pressed Heiss on his sexual preferences, asking, "Do you like pussy or dick?" as he continued to shove his fingers in Heiss' face with, quote, aggression and hostility. Damn it. Which one do you like? I'm not going to ask you this shit again. Damn, man. A shocked and humiliated Heiss said he left the bar after a demeaning and unprovoked and offensive assault, and Lemon was gone upon his return 5 to 10 minutes later. So he just stuck his hands in his pants and shoved them in his face, and then poof, when they came back to look for Don Lemon, it was like an episode of Scooby-Doo. He was gone. And he would have got away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids. He would have got away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids. In December, a legal decision found that Heiss offered contradictory testimony during an earlier deposition about the case, and that he engaged in, quote, egregious conduct after filing his suit. This included selectively destroying text messages, deleting social media posts, including his entire Twitter account, just 1 week after his suit was filed, and concealing unfavorable witnesses. The content and evidence Heiss was said to have initially deleted or destroyed included social media posts and messages in which he alluded to paying a friend and a potential witness if he won the case, as well as text messages containing homophobic language and photos that show him near Lemon's home. A CNN spokesperson previously alleged in a statement that Heiss had lashed out against the network on social media and had made an extortion attempt against Lemon in the past. A source also previously told People Heiss' team asked Lemon for $1.5 million, a sum the anchor refused to pay. The plaintiff in this lawsuit has previously displayed a pattern of contempt for CNN on his social media accounts, read the CNN statement obtained by People. This claim follows his unsuccessful threats and demands for an exorbitant amount of money from Don Lemon. Don categorically denies these claims, and this matter does not merit any further comment at this time. Well. So fast forward to today, and we have the article from News One. All right. And now what News One is talking about is that black primetime cable anchors, the number of them is shrinking amid concerns about CNN's new direction. Now, when people say, there's not going to be any media that addresses us. Now, there never has been, except for independent content creators, new black media, and things like that. The news media has never had black people or a black agenda in mind. And if you pay very close attention to the media and who works for the media may as well be just another branch of the Democratic Party of the government. So now you can look at this as a strength or you can look at this as a weakness. You know what I'm saying? My thing is, I think that this is a strength. And the reason why I think that this is a strength is because now with the void in the media, it's the opportunity now to solidify and create an actual real life, actual black media that actually represents black topics and black concerns and fill that void where CNN was just getting a paycheck to have black puppets up there and do nothing. Now, these black primetime cable anchors, are these anybody who have ever advocated for anything that's a necessity? Have they ever advocated appropriately? Have they ever talked about anything political that is necessary for us to have economic sustenance? If you think so, that's fine. Let me know who you think they are. If you don't think so, give me a thumbs up in the comment section. But now here's the question. About the climate of the country. The reason why CNN is doing this is to appease a potential audience. So, what that means is that the entire United States is becoming a purple Karen. That means that the United States is becoming more united through anti black racism, reinforcing those white supremacist ties that helped to create the country. Shout out to my man Keith Weston. What up with it, bro? So now the United States of America, I mean, it's becoming purple. You heard conservatives say for a very long time, quote, go woke, you go broke. Now we all know that woke is a dog whistle for anti-black racism. But pay very close attention and follow the money, because CNN is losing a lot of money. They tried to start that streaming show and it didn't work. The Black News Channel tanked. They can't do it. And the reason why they can't do it is because it's not authentic. Everybody knows that those aren't black news channels. So now they cannot continue the business model of being in the negative. So now they have to fall in line. And I agree, Carlton, because I was actually going to do a stream about Trevor Noah a while ago. I got to ask you guys the question, why is it that these things follow the same pattern? Biden gets into office, White House staffers who are black bounce. I'll tell you what else this is following the pattern on. This is also, the Democrat support is falling. The liberal media knows that. So if the liberal media is following liberal politics, most of America is not interested in that, which means that they're going to be losing money. So they have to rearrange their business model in order to remain profitable. So they did the same thing that I'm telling everybody else to do. Do a SWOT analysis. What is a SWOT analysis? Anybody? I know people in the comment section know what a SWOT analysis is. What is a SWOT analysis? If you guys know what a SWOT analysis is, let me know in the comment section. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have not smashed that like button, please make sure you guys smash the like button. And also, if you haven't shared the video out, please make sure you guys share the video out. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and make sure you hit that bell icon twice. What is a SWOT analysis? Anytime you deal with something like this, you do a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This is a perfect time for people to assess the media landscape and say, exactly, DIY Queen. Shout out, everybody drop some radiation emoji for DIY Queen and DJ Elmo. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You look at a situation, you look where you're weak at, and you look for opportunities and threats to turn into strengths. In my opinion, this is a perfect time to fill a void. And you can also fill that void with legitimate journalists, legitimate reporters, and talk about legitimate issues. So now here it says Don Lemon's departure from the coveted evening hours leaves a glaring void of diversity among cable news networks. Now, why does it leave a glaring void of diversity? Well, that's because we got Don Lemon with the intersectionality. He's a black LGBTQ male. So there we go. We got 3 diversity points. They're looking at these people with a diversity scoring system. If we can say that this person has X, Y, Z degrees of diversity, well, hell, then we've got somebody who's diverse. We've covered all of the bases with Don Lemon, and all we have to do is have him be black and not talk about black issues and have him in this position. And as long as we steer him away from this stuff, they can't say that we're being racist. Now, we all know that diversity is nothing more than white people with minority privileges and white people with tans. That's what diversity is. That's what people of color are. Shout out to Shatera and Kale. What up with y'all? But now, if you ask me, there's not a lot of diversity among cable news networks anyway. I mean, what are we talking about here? Van Jones and Don Lemon. Shout out to Katsy. What up with it, Katsy? So now here it says the recent shakeup at CNN, and we should actually look at this, that is reimagining the network's roster of on-air talent has drawn attention to the shrinking number of black news anchors. Now, wait a minute, guys. We got to assess this news article real quick. Because they didn't say anything about black in the title. They said it leaves a void of diversity. But now here it says there's a shrinking number of black news anchors. That means that there's not a diversity problem, right? Number of black prime cable anchors shrinks amidst concerns about CNN's new direction. So somehow the shrinking number of blacks leaves a void of diversity? No, that leaves a void of blacks. If you guys want to see Don Lemon, or if you want to see Van Jones cry, give me a thumbs up. If you don't want to see Van Jones cry, give me a thumbs down. It's just something ugly about, that's just ugly. You know what I'm saying? The move comes amid concerns about the new direction being taken by CNN, long held as a liberal bastion covering liberal current events, as it hires more conservative personalities leading up to the pivotal elections. Do you think that CNN is following the election trends? Those were some, what were those $100 million tiers? Those were some $100 million tiers. Those were some $100 million tiers, and he probably got a citizenship to Mars along with it. You know what I'm saying? So now I want you guys to to know this. CNN is hiring more conservative personalities. Now, here's my question. How are they doing that? Biden's press secretary works for NBC. The current press secretary is a former NBC associate. Fox already has Kayleigh McEnany. So now let me ask you guys a question. Why is the news following these trends? And let me ask you this. If CNN is doing this, do you all think that ABC, CBS, and NBC will follow suit? Now, that's what I'm talking about, AB. Those are $100 million tiers now. Those are $100 million tiers. You know what I'm saying? So now let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys know any of the conservative personalities that CNN may have hired? I'm not aware of any, but if you guys are, let me know who they are. I don't know of any, but I'm sure they are. Facts. Shout out to Keith Weston. All money ain't good money. Facts. That's a fact. Most recently, CNN moved Don Lemon from his eponymous show from 10 p.m. to midnight on weeknights to a revamped morning show that will team him with now former White House correspondent Catelyn Collins and anchor Poppy Harlow. While Lemon expressed gratitude and glee at having his show end, missing from the conversation has been any mention of what it means for the quote diversity of who delivers the news on TV when viewers are tuned in the most. I mean, there is going to be no diversity when it comes to conservatives. What does a right-leaning conservative United States want to see? We're going to see CNN look more like Fox. Making power moves like Capone. I was honestly floored when Chris Licht asked me to do this, and I'm honored by his belief in me, Lemon said in a statement about CNN's new CEO, whose personnel reshuffling has been accused of being, quote, politically motivated. Politically motivated. Now, here's my question for you guys. What political motivation would there be for that? Oh, do you mean that CNN is just going to follow these trends of how the Democrats are getting decimated? If that's what you think is going to happen, give me a thumbs up. If that's not what you think is going to happen, give me a thumbs down. Lemon also insisted it was time to shake things up, according to a news article published by CNN itself. Shake things up like what? However, critics see Lemon's move to the morning as a demotion, especially considering the fact that the TV news audience is the largest during primetime hours, according to data from the Pew Research Center. So now they're moving him away from when the most eyes would be on the TV. Why are they doing that? That's the question. Why are they doing that? How is this going to work? That's the question. It was not immediately clear what CNN planned to do to replace Don Lemon tonight. Licht told the National Association of Black Journalists during a phone call last Friday that he was unequivocally considering black on-air talent for CNN's new and unannounced primetime lineup. But that is no guarantee of anything coming from a man who recently hired a man accused of Islamophobia. So what they're doing is they're finding the most radical and racist white people that they can find to have him on. I wouldn't be surprised if CNN reached out to Joe Rogan and stuff like that. Shout out to Get Noticed with Nikki. What up with it? Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, drop some DEFCON 5 nukes in the comment section for the $100 super chat from my man Keith Weston. Definitely appreciate that. That is you guys already know how we get down over here. That is definitely going back into the platform. You know what I'm saying? I know, right, Shatera? Look at Keith. Y'all, all 50 people up in here need to drop my man Keith Weston some radiation emoji. That is most definitely appreciated. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says NABJ President Dorothy Tucker encouraged CNN to replace Lemon's primetime slot with a black journalist, in part because she said, according to statistics, that black viewers are the largest ethnicity subscribing to cable programming. Now let's just sit back and think about that. Black viewers are the largest ethnicity subscribing to cable programming, guys. Shout out to black people for keeping the cable companies rich. Now, let me ask you guys something. If we can keep Spectrum, if we can keep Charter, if we can keep Cox, you know what I'm saying? If we can keep all of these companies doing business and alive with our own money, why don't we have our own brick and mortar and printed media apparatuses, online media apparatuses? We are the sole reason for the cable programming. This is according to statistics, and we'll definitely look at these stats. We'll definitely look at them. Yeah. The share of adults subscribing to a cable TV service in the United States as of February 2022. It's black people. Now, you know what? We always hear the statistics about 13% of the population and 55% of the crime, but we never hear about 13% of the population funding 100% of the cable business. Now, why is it that we don't hear about that? And that's, again, these dollars in this situation are just like votes. And as you can see, we're keeping CNN alive, and they're shifting the focus from anything remotely towards us. Look at this. Share of adults subscribing to a cable TV service in the United States as of February 2022 by ethnicity. Currently subscribed. Currently 49% of black people, 41% of white people, 46% of Hispanic, 41% other. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Does the cable news channels, the telecommunications company, do they treat us as if we fund them? That's my question. And I agree with Cameron. There's a possibility that 13% is nowhere near being true. Look at that. So we put out a lot of money here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Keith Weston again. Make sure that you guys give Keith a super chat. Or give not a super chat, give Keith a radiation emoji. Because of Keith, we'll never hit a paywall on Statistica again. Because of Keith, we'll never hit a paywall on Statistica again. We'll be able to see the full printout. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says NABJ wants its members to be considered to replace Don Lemon. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Do you think that's going to happen? The only way that that's going to happen is if they find the farthest to the right, most anti-black black person that they can find, like Larry Elder. Or they get somebody off of YouTube like Officer Tatum or a black conservative perspective or something like that. Shout out to my man Zip. What up with it, bro? So now here it says there's a large pool of highly qualified and highly visible black journalists who could take Don Lemon's or another primetime slot to another level with whatever type of program CNN is considering, NABJ Vice President Broadcast Ken Lemon said. But given Like's recent moves, including hiring John Miller, the former New York Police Department leader who lied under oath about the police department's policies of surveilling Muslims post 9/11, NABJ's wishes may not be granted, despite its stated optimism that it has no reason to believe Like won't consider adding more black talent to the network's primetime coverage. You're silly and naive if that's what you believe. Let me ask you guys a question. Just from reading this article, just from what you guys know about this guy, do you guys think that he's going to add black talent? Yeah, Jay, I do actually have a Cash App. The Cash App, the bots should actually put it into the chat. But if you go to the About page, it's there also. You know what I'm saying? It's $ROBBFOSTERIII. That's the Cash App. It should come in the bot should put it in the chat too also. And it's also on the About page. So now I got a question for you guys. Do you guys think that what CNN is doing is an investment for after the 2022 midterms? If you guys think that it's an investment for after the 2022 midterms, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't, give me a thumbs down. Now, I found this old article from January of 2021, and I want to read it to you guys because this is the kind of nonsense. This is the kind of nonsense that they do. Now, it says Don Lemon calls out media's promotion of white male patriarchy. What do you guys think about that? Why not call it white supremacy? It's the same damn thing. Why are we calling it white male patriarchy like Don Lemon is some kind of feminist? And why are we doing the whole gender thing? We're dealing with race. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to my man Tony D. Y'all drop him some nukes as well. My man Tony D just helped your boy out with a $49.99 super chat. That is what's up. Definitely appreciate you, Tony. You already know, bro. Make sure y'all show that man some love. You know what I'm saying? But now, why is Don Lemon doing this is the question. That's the question. That's the question. Make this make sense. The CNN host used his platform to encourage newsroom to increase staffing diversity in a meaningful way and not just for appearance. So you see what happened? Now they're not getting any diversity. And this was just 2 years ago. Or I'm sorry, this was just last year in January. Now remember, January 20, that's right around when Biden got hired or when Biden got put into office. Don Lemon calls out media's promotion of, quote, white male patriarchy. Well, what are you going to do about it now, Don? White male patriarchy just puts you in the morning spot. Just days after Politico gave space to right-wing propagandist Ben Shapiro, which, again, Ben Shapiro is a YouTuber who's a part of the Daily Wire. So now this is what I want people to see. Do you guys see how all of these white supremacist media outlets, even the independent ones, work hand in hand with each other? Fox will have Ben Shapiro on there. Fox will have Tim Pool on there. They have all these people on there. They have all these people on there. So my question is, what was the effectiveness of Don Lemon doing this? Just days after Politico gave space to right-wing propagandist Ben Shapiro, Don Lemon led commentary for the outlet's flagship newsletter, issuing an MLK Day challenge to the media. Now, pay very close attention to this MLK Day challenge. Lemon said Politico and other outlets needed to redefine their approach to politics by centering the voice and experiences of Black, and then, of course, brown and Asian people who shifted the balance in power in Washington, D.C. Black people did that, not brown and Asian. But look at Don Lemon. Why is it that they always have a Black advocate advocating for somebody else? This is one of the reasons why, if you ask me, I understand what they're trying to do here. And I don't think that it's the best thing, but I do think that it's something that if people get on the right end of it, we can benefit from, because what we can do is effectively nullify media agents like Don Lemon and render his voice just completely irrelevant. Now, my question is, do you all know any journalists who, you know, CNN would hire? They're talking about these Black journalists from this organization. Who would you all like to see on TV? They got Trevor too. Shout out to my man KO Kid Fit. But let's be honest about the people who put Joe Biden and Kamala Harris over the finish line. Here we go. They were Black, brown, and Asian. No, they weren't. They were Black. And then, of course, with Black women leading the way. Look at this. What? Hold on real quick. What the hell? You got do you guys see that? What the hell? Hold on real quick. Did you guys see that? What the hell? Man, that's that was weird as hell. And antivirus. You see that? I'm gonna be spending those super chats on antivirus and firewalls. You guys see that? That was wild. Them alphabet people. Shit, which one? The LGBTQ or the FBI? Shit. So let's try this again. Don Lemon calls out media promotion of white male patriarchy. Now watch. Did he? Right. They don't like that. You know what I'm saying? The CNN host used his platform to encourage newsrooms to increase staffing, quote, diversity in a meaningful way and not just for appearances, which is fascinating because he's one of those diversity people who's just there for an appearance. He's one of those diversity people who's just there for an appearance. Just days after Politico gave space to right-wing propagandist Ben Shapiro, Don Lemon led commentary for the outlet's flagship newsletter, issuing an MLK Day challenge to the media. Lemon said Politico and other outlets needed to redefine their approach to politics by centering the voice and experiences of Black, brown, and Asian people who shifted the balance in power in Washington, D.C. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys agree with this comment here? Black, brown, and Asian people shifted the balance of power in D.C. Do you guys agree with that? If you agree with that, give me a thumbs up. If you disagree with that, give me a thumbs down. Shout out to my man, Ed Berry. What up with it, bro? My man, AB Promotion says, Cash App, the hate is real. You know what I'm saying? But let's be honest about the people who put Joe Biden and Kamala Harris over the finish line. They were and are black, brown, and Asian. No, they're not. Asians only gave 4% of their vote, and brown people didn't. If you guys recall, Eva Longoria got burned last year because she tried to take away the credit. Now, what I want you guys to pay very close attention to is not only did we give Biden the most votes, and not only have we historically been the largest and most dedicated Democratic voting bloc, now we know that it's black people that currently fund the majority of cable television services. They just slid that right in there. You would think that with black people giving all of that money to these cable TV companies, that there would be some kind of black agenda, but not really though, because if black people don't own these companies, they have things exactly the way that they are right now. They have it exactly the way they need it to be right now. We're getting all the money from you, and we'll just keep it where all you do is just continue filtering us money because you don't think that there's any alternative. What I'm telling people is that building your own media apparatus is the alternative. And that's also a way to combat the racial wealth gap, because you will be funding black business as well as getting and legitimizing black information, black think tanks, black political conversations. None of this stuff is anything that the news is covering. You're not going to hear Tucker Carlson get up there and say, well, I just happened to read a Pew Research report, and it seems that black people are moving away from the Democratic Party. Oh, he's not going to say that, despite the fact that that's what's going on. No, you will have that idiot go up there and talk about some Black Lives Matter shit that happened last year. Now, you would think, remember when Trump was in office and all the white people were trying to shame black people, talking about Biden is friends with Strom Thurmond and Robert Byrd and all of these KKK members, and just so you know, black people, just so you know what I'm saying? I mean, I know because I got a couple in my family, because that's all we used to do is just abuse the hell out of the slaves and shit. So we know what it looks like when a black person has some white in them. Just so you know, Kamala Harris isn't black. You remember when they were going around saying all that shit? Pay very close attention to how they're not saying it now. Why aren't they saying it now? They're not saying it now because they're not worried about anything, because if you pay attention to all of the elections, the Trump candidates are smashing everybody in every state. So they don't need you now. They only needed people and only wanted to encourage you to vote and get on board with them when it was opportunistic, when there was uncertainty. Now that things seem somewhat certain, it's like, good luck in life. And I agree with DIY Queen. Cable should be watched for opposition research only. Facts. With black women leading the way, like pacers in a marathon, wrote Lemon. It is high time we, because I'm included in these groups, not only have a seat at the table, but lead the discussion and make some of the decisions. If you ask me, it's time for black people to lead their own media companies, not be an employee of one. If you guys agree with that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. So now here it says, Lemon challenged news managers to treat diversity as essential to the business of reporting news and not simply, quote, a favor to black people. And then, of course, he goes on to say, and other people of color. Other people of color are not even rocking with you. Not only are other people of color not rocking with you, other people of color are not rocking with Democrats, which is one of the reasons, again, why all of these news network companies are moving in the conservative direction, because they've already framed the narrative and used the Democratic Party to paint black people as an outlier, to keep black people separate from anything, that could have any kind of unity. They have long drawn they've long drawn the draft of the black Democrat. So this is another situation that has been set up by white supremacy media to automatically frame a black person as a Democrat to make it yet another situation that as a black person, if you're having a political conversation, you already come in behind the ball and have to prove to somebody that you're not a diehard Democrat. Just another stepping stone that they systematically created, and now they're dropping. Which is one of the reasons why it's so important to be an independent thinker. That's one of the reasons why it's so important to be an independent thinker. Never do what any of these people tell you to do. Taking clear aim at the Playbook newsletter and by extension Politico, Lemon demanded outlets ensure they engage in ongoing work. For it to be effective, enlightened, and relevant, Playbook should strive daily to reflect the aforementioned values and not all fall back on what's easy and comfortable. Quote, the promotion of white male patriarchy, Lemon challenged. In my opinion, that not falling back on what's comfortable, they're always going to fall back on what's comfortable, and they're going to be allowed to do that because they own the businesses. Don Lemon is giving the wrong message, if you ask me. I encourage us to not fall back on what's easy and comfortable, which is utilizing nonsense for news, and come up with our own news, come up with our own information, come up with our own data. Since these people don't want to address it, make them pay for it, not only in the pockets, but in the ratings as well. If you guys agree with that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. And if you guys haven't liked the video, please make sure you take a moment and smash that like button. Lemon's sudden epiphany comes as he announces, there you go, his new book. So that's why he was talking out of turn back here. Black journalists have been challenging the media's failure to incorporate non-white voices in its coverage for quite some time. Now, here's my question. What does it matter if the voice is non-white if it's not saying anything? And how many non-white voices do we have on the news, in the media, on the radio that aren't saying anything? The only place where black people are saying anything worth listening to is on YouTube, on Twitter. Independent content creators, people that come up with their own content. And my thing is that when it comes to us, we need to start using that as a primary news source. And another thing we need to start doing is anytime there's a breaking news story involving black people should come to a black media first. If there's a police shooting, don't go to CNN. Have Phil Scott interview your family or something like that. You cannot go to the media that's not concerned about your life when you have your own media and then expect people to ever look at your media as legitimate. You have to legitimize your media by giving it breaking stories, by coming to it first, investing in it. You know what I'm saying? Building it up. Using that media to do commerce, advertisement and stuff like that for businesses, giving businesses shout outs. This is the perfect time for this. And as you guys can see, the most important thing about this is not only is it CNN that doesn't care. The telecommunications companies don't care either. They're not even gearing content towards you. All these white people that cry about all this shit being woke, why don't you pull yourself up by the bootstraps and pay more for cable? The people that are paying for it should be catered. And as we saw from those statistics, it ain't white people. Now, 13% of the population that. So now here it says last summer, Pulitzer Prize winning journalist Wesley Laurie was among the black journalists calling on newsrooms across the country to change how they engaged in coverage. but one should not need a Pulitzer Prize on a primetime cable network time slot to be taken seriously. In 2016, I1 Digital's own Kristen West Salvi, then writing for The Root, pointed out the hypocrisy in white-led media outlets concern trolling about media commentary. Salvi directly challenged the contention that fairness and objectivity were at odds with coverage that prioritized the experiences and work of Black people. The way Don Lemon and Lori leveraged their privilege, they leveraged privilege and access to digital pages of elite white-led news organizations opens up a new avenue for addressing the persisting disconnect in news coverage and the lived experiences of Black communities. Hopefully, these efforts to challenge the status quo in coverage can lead to greater support for critical analysis from Black journalists and Black-led newsrooms. Now, here's my question. What Black journalists would you all like to see in the mainstream media? What Black journalists would you all like to see more of? That's my question. Look at Rashad Richey. If you ask me, Rashad Richey could actually be an effective self-journalist, but he's linked in with the Young Turks, which makes him have to do things using the Democrat playbook. So he's not going to be very effective for actual audiences who are actually invested in Black empowerment or improving Black people here in the United States. Does this look like diversity? This looks like a remake of Three's Company with the LGBTQ Jack Tripper, which is arguable that Jack Tripper might be LGBTQ anyway. Come and knock on my door. I will give you the news. This is the morning show. CNN announces that it will debut new morning show with Don Lemon, Poppy Harlow, and Catelyn Collins. That woman in the middle doesn't look very happy about it. She don't look very happy about it at all. She looked like old boy on Belly. I don't like this shit. I don't like this shit at all. The network on Thursday unveiled a new marquee morning program that will debut later this year, anchored by stars, falling stars, mind you, Don Lemon, Poppy Harlow, and Catelyn Collins. The show will replace New Day, which airs at 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Don Lemon is going to be on the air during orange juice hours. Don Lemon is on the air during orange juice hours. Carlton Way up here talking about OnlyFans diversity. I'm talking about the news, Carlton. It will. Oh, and you know what? Speaking of OnlyFans diversity, we'll definitely be talking about that very soon, but in a unique way, because you'll notice a pattern if you look hard enough. And I'm not talking about that lingerie. The show will replace New Day, which airs 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. ET. It will carry a new name, format, and set, CNN said. New Day anchors John Berman and Brianna Keeler will continue to anchor their show until the new program debuts. They will then be assigned new anchor roles at the network, CNN said. So they're going to be reassigning people. This is what's called a reorganization. Has your boss ever walked into the job and said, you know, we're going to be doing a little bit of reorganizing? And what that usually means is you cleaning out your office and you're not there anymore. Shout out to my man Solo T. And shout out to my man JB Easy. What up with it? That's what that means. You know what I'm saying? The major programming shakeup was announced by CNN's chief executive, Chris Light, who took over as the head of the network in May. In recent weeks, Light has started to put his stamp on the network's programming with the announcement of a new morning show, his most significant move to date. Morning shows have been a forte for Light throughout his career. Prior to joining CNN, Light created MSNBC's popular Morning Joe and revitalized CBS This Morning. There is no stronger combination of talent, probably no stronger combination of odor also, Don, Poppy, and Catelyn, to deliver on our promise of a game-changing morning news program, like said in a press release. Now, what game is this going to change? Charades? That's my question. What game is this going to change? We playing morning Sudoku? They are each uniquely intelligent, reliable, and compelling. Together, they have a rare and palpable chemistry. But do they have a palpable heartbeat for that show, is the question. And if you ask me, this is going to tank. Because nobody wants to see this nonsense. In a memo to staffers, Like acknowledged that the overhaul of the morning show will spark a number of questions that can't all be addressed in a single note. But Like sought to answer the major ones, telling employees that the New Day team will continue to produce the morning show and reiterating Kyler and Berman will be given new anchor roles. The next chapter of CNN is beginning to shape. Now, let me ask you guys a question. What is that next chapter of CNN shape looks like? If you ask me, it probably looks a lot like a Confederate flag or possibly a swastika. But there's always the possibility that it could be a burning cross or a white sheet with holes cut out in it as well. Shout out to Roots Tracker. What up with it? I'm sure there are many questions not answered in this note. We'll be communicating as much as we can as we refine specifics and ensure this transition is a thorough and inclusive process. Lemon, whose show Don Lemon Tonight will come to an end as a result of the move, described the last 8 years in primetime as an incredible role, but he said it was time to shake things up. He was probably talking about his tail feather. He wasn't talking about his position. He's probably talking about his tail feather. He wasn't talking about the position. He says, I'm so appreciative of the Don Lemon Tonight team, my wonderful loyal viewers, and everyone who has believed in me. Don Lemon said in a press release, I was honestly floored when Chris Light asked me to do this, and I'm honored by his belief in me. It's going to be a thrill to take on this challenge with Poppy and Catelyn. A CNN spokesperson said that the network will announce new programming that will replace Lemon's current show later this year. Harlow, who currently co-anchors the 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. hours and recently completed Yale's Master of Studies in Law degree program, described Lemon as, quote, one of her closest friends for more than a decade and said she was grateful for the opportunity. What a gift to be able to sit beside Don Lemon and Catelyn each morning, Harlow said. Be careful because people have said he grabs people. So be careful. Yeah, look at what Carla says. Carla says that NBC just went to a total new format from 4 a.m. to 2 p.m. And do you guys recall that new Democrat sector, that new Democrat sector that me and TD did a video about? That blue MAGA news sector, or that blue MAGA Democrat sector? It's all coming together. I told you guys in the middle of last year that what you guys are going to start to see is the, quote, Karenization of the entire United States. There is no culture war like they talk about. It's just a culture reshuffling, and they're going back to their roots, just like how we're going back to ours. And so now, again, this is one of the reasons why when people say Trump brought out all of these racists, when you have people getting lynched, gunned down by police officers, you have Karens on the rise. All of the assassinations of black people was going down before Trump was the president. Now, people may have felt more emboldened verbally or put on more of a show now that Trump was there. But if you ask me, it's not that racists are now not afraid to show their face. Racists are not afraid of anything because they understand that racism gives them the protection, so they don't have to be afraid of anything. Racism and anti-black racism and white supremacy are the outputs, or I'm sorry, are the inputs that when put into the machine of the United States give the output of white privilege. Those are the ingredients. The success formula in the United States for even including black people is anti-black racism, white supremacy, and that will grant you white privilege or white derivative privileges, because there is a such thing as white derivative privileges. Just like how when it comes to stocks and commodities, there's derivatives, there's derivative white privilege as well. You may not get direct white privilege, but you get a derivative of it. You might get a future, you might get an option, you might get a call, and you might get a put. White supremacy is a financial instrument that you won't see on any stock market, but it controls every stock market. United States Corporation of America, it's the #1 product that they export and import. Just ask most of the immigrants that they bring here. So now here it says Collins, who has served as the chief White House correspondent. So again, this is what I'm telling you guys. Pay very close attention to who from the government works for the media. They get these people directly from the government to work right for the media. Since the start of the Biden administration, she said she was thrilled to start this new adventure and assume the new role of co-anchor and chief correspondent of the Revamped Morning Show. It was not immediately clear if anyone will fill her position as chief White House correspondent when she vacates the role. A CNN spokesperson said that the network will announce changes at the White House soon. So you got CNN getting its employees directly from the White House. So now, again, you have CNN blatantly, boldly moving in an anti-black direction. And where is it getting its staff from? Right from the White House. Yeah, it's a revolving door. It's a revolving door. Facts. So now look what we got here. Everybody knows Trevor Noah. He's everybody's favorite light-skinned dude. He's everybody's favorite light-skinned dude. You know what I'm saying? He's leaving the Daily Show after 7 years. How many people were aware of that? There he is. There he is. Looking like a caution light with a fro. Trevor Noah is leaving the Daily Show after 7 years. Where do you think he's going? You think he's gonna take CNN's place at the, or you think he's gonna take Don Lemon's place at the night show? Let's see what we got here. It's been one of my greatest challenges. It's been one of my greatest joys, says the South African-born comedian, but it's time to move on. Now, who's pushing him out of the door? They call him a comedian. I don't know if he's funny. I don't know if he's funny. You guys ever heard any of his jokes? Is he funny? He looks like a, like if Lenny Kravitz was a superhero, Don or Trevor Noah looks like the daytime Wayne Enterprises version. and then he had turned into Lenny Kravitz and fly into Gotham City on a guitar and fight crime and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? With what was that lady's name? With Denise from the Cosby Show as Catwoman or as Batgirl, one of the two. Rock Girl. You know what I'm saying? That's what he looks like to me. You know what I'm saying? But you know, my mind is all over the place a lot of times. She says it's time to move on. Trevor Noah is leaving his gig hosting The Daily Show after 7 years. He told his viewers Thursday night. He didn't reveal when he plans to leave the show, but did say it would not be immediately. Details remain to be worked out, Noah said. I wonder what kind of details. Probably about getting paid. He didn't mention a replacement nor discuss specific plans for his future. I realized that after 7 years, my time is up, but in the most beautiful way, said Noah, who is 38, who replaced Jon Stewart at the helm of the late night Comedy Central show on September 28th of 2015. Yeah, that's her, Lisa Bonet. Yeah, with Lisa Bonet as Catwoman. You know what I'm saying? Lisa Bonet as Catwoman. Lisa Bonet and Lenny Kravitz flying through Gotham City on an electric guitar to save Gotham. And Mayor Eric Adams. Somebody call Officer Bullet and Harvey Dent. We got problems over here in Gotham City. I'm in Puerto Rico right now, so I can't do shit for anybody here. But maybe Batman and Batgirl can help get those immigrants on the cruise ship. Man, if you don't shut your stupid ass up and sit your dumb ass down, Eric Adams, you better. Oh, Lord. I loved hosting this show, added the South African-born comedian. It's been one of my greatest challenges. It's been one of my greatest joys. I've loved trying to figure out how to make people laugh, even when the stories are particularly shitty on the worst days. Now, did you guys know that Trevor Noah grew up during apartheid South Africa? It sounds like he could be a good comic. Yeah, I think so. Except for the fact that Stephen A. Smith would have to be the Joker. Stephen A. Smith would be Jack Napier. And Don Lemon would be Harley Quinn. Don Lemon would be Harlequin. What y'all think about that? Him and Catwoman will fight over outfits. You know what I'm saying? I love trying to figure out how to make people laugh, even when the stories are particularly shitty on the worst days. He said returning to stand-up after a 2-year break amid the C-19 pandemic made him realize he wanted to continue exploring other avenues, including performance and traveling. He thanked the network and program team for giving him a tremendous opportunity when he was little known in the U.S. and thanked the audience. I never dreamed I'd be here, he said. I'm not disappearing. Don't worry. If I owe you money, I'll still pay you, Noah quipped. So now my thing is, I believe that Trevor Noah is getting pressure from the network because I believe that all networks, I believe that every single network is going to move into that conservative direction. Not just this one, not just CNN. All of them are. So they said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to get a comedian that's more, quote, relatable and palatable to our audience. And you just kind of aren't the fit anymore, because when it comes to Black people being on the news, when it comes to this repeated word woke, if you're Black, they associate you with being woke. We can't have that. Sorry, Trevor. And what we're going to need you to do is not disparage the network on your way out, and just basically say that you're happy for what we gave you and have a nice life. So again, this right here is not the first and it's not the last of this kind of exodus or this forced exodus that you'll see. It's going to be a lot more, which is one of the reasons why, okay, that's fine. Now is the time and the opportunity with the most necessity for us to actually solidify and create a rock solid media network of independent journalism and think tanks. You know what I'm saying? The network issued a statement expressing gratitude to Trevor for our amazing partnership over the past 7 years. With no timetable for his departure, we're working together on the next steps. As we look ahead, we're excited for the next chapter in the 25 plus year history of The Daily Show as it continues to redefine culture through sharp and hilarious social commentary, helping audiences make sense of the world around them. So how would The Daily Show make sense of the world around it for its desired audience? That's my question. How would they do that? Do you think that they're going to make the comedy coincide with the media like how it does now? Is Saturday Night Live, Jay Leno, Conan, all of those shows, don't they coincide with the media? You have the media bombard you with a message during the most stressful time of the day. Then you have the media bombard you with another message, which is the same during your laid back time during the day. And just as you're falling asleep, you're watching the cornballs on late night TV, reinforcing it with jokes to put you right to sleep. So now you can't have late night shows that don't match with your media narrative. So now what direction are we going to see the late night shows moving in? And then they'll put Chappelle and they'll put Chris Rock on there just to say, we're not racist. See, I mean, they even canceled Chappelle. I mean, look at Chris Rock. I mean, nobody likes Chris Rock. Dave Chappelle is in a dangerous territory because he's always that black person that racist white people can latch onto and try to act as if they have some kind of commonality with. Pay very close attention anytime there's any kind of Chappelle issue. There's always a bunch of racist white people that come to Chappelle's rescue. Now, I'm not saying that has anything to do with Chappelle or that he's calling that. What I'm saying is just pay attention to how they try to use him as a pawn. If something happens with Netflix, oh my God, all these white YouTubers, geeks and gamers, you know what I'm saying? Tim Pool, you know what I'm saying? Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, all these people that hate black people, all of a sudden got all this love for Dave Chappelle because we're all in the same boat. We're all being canceled. You see, Dave Chappelle says the N-word and makes jokes about black people. Damn it, we should be able to. Dave Chappelle for white people is the new undercover. This is why I should be able to say the N-word card, which is one of the reasons why those kind of white people, not by Dave Chappelle's request, but by their own instinct, always run to his rescue. Pay close attention to that. And if I'm lying, I'm dying. I mean, the content is out there. All you got to do is just look on YouTube. When he was having issues because of the closer, I guarantee it was more white content creators making content about Dave Chappelle, claiming that Dave Chappelle's, the woke and all of this stuff. Oh, Chappelle's not woke, like hey, Chappelle's one of us. Yeah, no. Let's not forget what the writer on the Chappelle show said. Everybody want to be a nigga. Don't nobody want to be a nigga. So now here it says Noah had a tough act to follow after Stewart. I will say the first 2 years were horrible, and it was horrible because I had taken over one of America's most beloved institutions, he told Variety in an interview in 2020. Even though Jon Stewart had passed over the reins to me, it was essentially a year of people telling me I shouldn't be doing the job and that I was unworthy of being in that seat. And I continued to believe that, he said. But Noah found his footing, and millions of fans, his popularity enjoyed a ratings bump. And after the presidential election of Donald Trump, whom Noah is particularly apt at flaming. So you can't have somebody that flames Donald Trump on the news if you're moving your news towards being Fox. Can you? Bye-bye, Trevor. That's what that means. That's what that means, ladies and gentlemen. Bye-bye, Trevor. Facts. And again, Cameron, that just goes to back up what I was saying before. You can't have late night not match with the news. So if CNN and NBC and CBS, if they're moving towards conservative, now you also know that moving in that conservative direction, they're going to be appeasing Latino people as well. Joe Biden already talked about that. And let's not get it twisted. When Joe Biden said that, that was an American initiative. That didn't have anything to do with Democrats. That didn't have anything to do with Republicans. And one of the reasons why, if you pay very close attention, a lot of the commercials, a lot of the propaganda, nowadays you see them showing a lot of Black Latinos. There's a reason for that as well. Do you guys remember the CNN report that I showed you guys earlier this year on Blacklight Revelations 1, where we talked about the initiative for Latinos to fill out their census and consider themselves Black? Do you guys remember that? If you guys remember that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't remember that, give me a thumbs down. If you guys recall that, give me a thumbs up. Now, I want to try to find this article so I could show it to you guys if you guys haven't seen it. It's on my other channel. Let me see. Hold on. Let's see. Give me 1 second. I want to try to find this because now this is interesting. There's a I never saw this, but there's this little news clip here that's talking about Latinos face race confusion. Latinx people face confusion with race box. Now, this is not the same article that I had referenced. All right. So I want to make that clear. This is not the same article that I had referenced, but I think this is interesting to get the point across. I don't know how you can possibly have race confusion. I don't know how that works, but apparently this is something that Latinos are allegedly dealing with, which I don't think that they're dealing with, if you ask me, because when I do this video about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, you guys will be shocked. So now let's check this out. This is a little news clip from Denver 7. But I want to ask you guys a question. How many people saw that video? It's an older video that I did about where they're encouraging Latinos to fill out on the race section that they're Black. There was a editor from The Root who appeared on that news segment.
As a category of humankind that shares certain distinctive physical traits.
Hi, I'm Christina Aru with another episode of Catalina Stars Young and Famous.
If you ask young podcaster Christina Aru her race.
At first, I only knew I was Cuban. And then when I learned I was Latina, I did not know, I thought that meant I couldn't be Cuban anymore.
You won't hear her say white, Black, Asian, Pacific Island.
Now, this is my thing, right? That right there, that is by design. That is by design to cause identity issues so that people cannot consolidate against the people who are creating the race confusion. Because it's only one group of people that created the race confusion that's not only confusing those people, but it's confusing everybody, especially people here in the United States. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about it as if, you know, this is just some kind of issue and we have to help these people with it. No. This is an issue that white people need to take accountability from, because this is, again, another part of white supremacy where there is no confusion about white. Everybody knows that if there's one thing that you know, it's that you're white. If you're white, when it comes to everybody else, oh, you know, well, we can change this and we can change that, and there's intersectionality this and there's intersectionality that. When it comes to white, you're white. And there's a reason why there's a just like how they want the border wall at the southern border in Mexico, there's a reason why there's a border of what white is and everything else has open doors and unlocks on it. There's a reason for all of that. It's a mathematical term called mutual exclusivity. Mutual exclusivity.
Islander, because in the race box, many Hispanics and Latinos are lost.
We're not a race. We are so different, and that's the problem too. We are so many countries, and you're trying to just bottle us up.
Christina's mom, Kathy Aru, a journalist and founder of Latina magazine Catalina, has battled with this topic since she started the magazine 10 years ago.
I called it Catalina because there was such a controversy on what to label ourselves. So I went with my name, Catherine, in Spanish.
The word Hispanic refers to those who are from a Spanish-speaking country, but Latino or Latina includes people from countries in Latin America who speak Spanish, Portuguese, or other indigenous languages. Often the two terms are mistakenly used interchangeably, yet the words Hispanic and Latino identify an ethnicity, not a race.
So when it comes to that,
so now pay very close attention, because when you start calling people white Latinos, when you start calling people black Latinos, they look at you like they're crazy, and white people co-sign it. Oh, you're just being racist. You're just being a black supremacist, like Ted Cruz said, who himself is Latino. Everybody knows to distance themselves from being black. Everybody knows to try to be white, and white people know that they're white. That's there's nothing else other than that. Everybody else knows to fall in line. We know that we're black. Even other black people who come to the United States, like the Somalian brother that we read about, know that there's stigmas attached to us. And everybody knows who's white. There is no debate about any of this. And what I find fascinating is that the people who laid out the ground rules to all of this, they're trying to project as if they don't understand the circumstances that they created. Yeah, exactly, DJ Elmo. Facts. Me no black. Yeah, actually you are. You know what I'm saying? Facts. So now pay very close attention, because this is what we're dealing with. I'll tell you what. I don't know if you guys saw TD Hip Hop Media's video, but I'll tell you what, those Latino people know exactly what race they are when they're trying to get voting blocks and redistricting done in Chicago. They know that they're not part of the Black Congressional Caucus, and they know that they're trying to redistrict in order to get more Latino voting power in Chicago. So all of a sudden they understand the race then. So now how is it that we had this moving goalpost and this shifting understanding when we have things like this news clip right here, which can easily smooth those things out? We can smooth it out like Naughty by Nature. Smooth it out now. Like Tretch. You know what I'm saying?
The data collected, we have limited options. When we think about the race, we are either white, black, Asian American, Native American. We can choose one of those races, while Hispanic, Latino becomes an ethnicity. And I think that's where we struggle, many of us, is where do we fit in?
In some cases,
you know where you fit in. I guarantee everybody knows. I guarantee you the one that everybody tries to figure out a reason not to click is the one that says black. I'm not going to sit here and listen to, and believe this nonsense. Now, people can call me a black supremacist, or I'm being anti-white, or I'm being xenophobic. No, I'm being pro-truth is what I'm being. And these people are being intellectually dishonest. This guy right here falls under the category of Mazisto, and Mazisto people click the white box. Period. You know that you're not black. The only time any of these people want to be black is if they want to try to say the N-word. It's, oh, mi abuela negra. Like, oh, yeah, okay, motherfucker.
Many of us is where do we fit in?
In some cases, choosing ethnicity.
Now, what I find fascinating is that Fat Joe is not confused about this. Don Cartagena, you know what I'm saying? The leader of the terror squad is not confused about this. As a matter of fact, he said ain't no one going to tell him that he can't say the N-word. And then he got on there with Angie Martinez and said, I'm the white Latino with green eyes. So Don Cartagena is definitely not confused about any of this.
Not a race.
So when it comes to the data collected, we have limited options. When we think about the race, we are either white, black, Asian American, Native American. We can choose one of those races, while Hispanic, Latino becomes an ethnicity. And I think that's where we struggle.
And what they're doing is, if we can merge black people from the United States, American descendants of slavery, foundational black Americans, people that can trace their families back to plantations, if we can merge them with the identity of Latinos concurrently, while removing black history out of the schools under the guise of critical race theory, well, I mean, by doing that, we have, and if we flood the United States with immigrants, we have this shrinking number of people who are just crazy talking about this plantation talk and reparation. What are you talking about? You black people will fall under you all are Latinos. I mean, look at hip hop. See how that works? That's why now the time is now for media. Because when it comes to black media, what you guys have to understand is that white people aren't going to listen to us anyway. They can't listen to it. They can't listen to this. If they sat and listened to this, it would debunk every comfortable narrative that they have. Which is the point.
Struggle, many of us, is where do we fit in?
In some cases, choosing ethnicity is not even an option on data collection forms, and identifying race and ethnicity gets more complex in many cases. Hispanics and Latinos can identify.
Hispanic people are the only ones that are allowed to put an ethnicity on there. Now, my question is why? Why is that? All the races can be Hispanic, right? But everybody that's not Hispanic can't be all the races. So my question is, how is that fair? You can just hide. This is the people of color prototype. I mean, there is no such thing because we're all Latino. We're all hermanos. except for the fact that you see the gringos getting treated a lot better than the negros. But it can't be anything because, I mean, we're all brothers. We're all brothers as one. Yeah, you keep thinking that.
Identify as white or black as well. But what happens when you're in between?
My 11-year-old found a mug that had, it was a coffee mug.
There is no in between unless you have one black parent and one white parent. There is no in between. Barack Obama is in between, and you all called him a black president. Kamala Harris is in between, and you all called her a black president. There is no in between. How are you in between? And the fact that you all are calling Barack Obama and Kamala Harris in between is even more proof that there is no in between, because even if you have one non-black parent, you're still black by the political talking points and by the one drop rules and by the rules that everybody classifies themselves by. White media will frame the narrative of who's black versus who's not. Holly Berry is in between. So there is no in between. What is this lady gonna try to say? Oh, I have my abuela, like, really? What is the in between? How is there an in between? Like, make that make sense. No one is confused by that. All of this is part of white racism. So, I mean, they should explain it. What do you mean? Make it make sense. How does this make sense? How does this work?
My 11-year-old found a mug that had, it was a coffee mug, café con leche, and there were different colors. It went from pale to darker, and it depends how much milk you add to your coffee.
Okay, so then by that definition, me and TD are not the same race. Malcolm X and Martin Luther King are not the same race. Kid and Play are not the same race. Now, notice how this shit works for everybody outside of black people, but when it comes to black people, you're black. Yeah, maximum sophisticated confusion. Facts. Facts, JB Easy. Neely Fuller Jr. They were so wanting to make sure that no black people seeped through the cracks back in the slavery days, they had rules against passing. Now, all of a sudden, we have to specify all of this stuff. Oh, well, there was this coffee mug and this, that, and other. What are you talking about? A coffee? What do your mother and father look like? Does your father look like Chris Rock? Does your mother look like Reese Witherspoon? Well, guess what? Here's the news for you. In the United States, even if that's the case, people are going to look at you and the police are going to treat you like you're black. Rest in peace, Dante Wright. Like, that's what's going to happen.
And that's how we've been able to explain our colors in our family. But there are no boxes for that.
Dr. Chris.
Because those colors are not racist. You don't change boxes. Last time I checked, when white people go get a tan, they don't check a different box. Except for the one that says credit card or cash. Like, how does that make sense? These people are not confused about this. This is high-level trolling. And the thing is that it doesn't matter how dark on that scale. It doesn't matter how dark on that scale they are or close to that coffee. They're going to do everything that they can to not check the black box. Shout out to Sari Lynn. What up with it, Sari?
Stobel Salinas believes new words need to be introduced to the race box.
But I think we will eventually become a race.
New words for Latinos need to be introduced to the race box. But people look at foundational Black Americans, American descendants of slavery, or Native Black Americans, like it's a game. Why do these people get different boxes? Oh, you know, I'm a little bit more tan and I got a little bit more curly hair. I'm a different race. You know what I'm saying? Give them some more minority benefits. More money that we can't pay reparations with because we got all of these new minorities that we got to take care of. Manufactured minorities, just like the entire Hispanic ethnicity. This is nothing but a political party and a political movement and a political bloc on code, with their code being the language, which is one of the reasons why they call this Hispanic. There's a Hispanic liberal to conservative pipeline here in the United States that I think that the media needs to start covering, because that's what you see.
It's just a matter of time and who is making that decision for us.
And today I'm going to be interviewing a Latinx skateboarder, Steven Pinheiro.
If these simple words matter, it's going to take Hispanics and Latinos using.
This is that stupid shit that white people would do to light-skinned Black people when they come back from vacation and say, see, I'm darker than you. Yeah, but the police isn't going to put a hole in your face for having a back tail light out. That does not make you a different race. This is insanity.
Using their voices to make the change. I'm Russell Haythorne, Denver 7. He says it.
But all of these things, all of these initiatives, they all started around last year. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the reasons why I try to encourage people. Make sure you guys catch up on the older content. Make sure you guys catch up on the older videos on all the channels, because I've been talking about this. I've been telling people this. And then when that leaked phone call came out with Biden, where he said that you Black people are going to have to start working with the Latinos, that's because what they're doing is the same thing that they always do: merge identities for confusion. So you can't have right-wing Latinos and you can't have right-wing white people sitting up here tolerating Trevor Noah making jokes about Trump. So they're going to get him up out of there. They're going to get him up out of there. You're gone. Goodbye. That's what they said on that movie Undercover Brother. I think Chappelle asked Eddie Griffin that. Trevor Noah teases next steps after the Daily Show exit. I miss learning. So now, do you guys think that Trevor Noah leaving the Daily Show was on his own request, or do you think that he was pushed out of the door? Yeah, I agree, Ricky. If you guys agree with Ricky, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. And you're going to see more of this. You're going to see more of that. So now here, and real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have not smashed the like button, please make sure you guys take a moment and smash that like button. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon twice, and also hit that thumbs up button. Trevor Noah teased his next steps after confirming that he is leaving The Daily Show. On Thursday, the comedian, who is 38, released a video on Twitter to announce that his time up on the Comedy Central program after initially announcing the news at a taping of The Daily Show that same night. Noah has hosted the satirical news show for 7 years, and pay very close attention. This is a news show, a satirical news show. How do they want the news looking? Let me ask you guys a question. Does CNN follow the other networks, or do the other networks follow CNN? How does that go? How does that go? Does CNN follow the other networks, or do the other networks follow CNN when it comes to NBC, ABC, and all these other different places? So now here it says, in the video released on The Daily Show's Twitter, Noah said that his time as a host has been absolutely amazing and thanked his team, the network, and his coworkers. He did not confirm when his last episode will be. In the statement, Noah hinted at what his future might entail, as he suggested he will be hitting the road to tour again. The star, who was recently spotted out to dinner with singer Dua Lipa, I don't know if that's how you say it. Have you guys ever heard of this woman? Said that after spending 2 years at home during the C-19 pandemic and not on the road, he realized that he missed being out there. When I got back out there, I realized there's another part of my life out there that I want to carry on exploring. I miss learning other languages, Noah said. I miss going to other countries and putting on shows. Elsewhere in his statement, Noah called his Daily Show hosting gigs one of his greatest challenges and greatest joys. He added, "I never dreamed that I would be here. All I can say is thank you very much. You've truly made this one of the best experiences of my life." He also joked, "Don't worry, I'm not disappearing. If I owe you money, I'll still pay you." Following Noah's statement, Comedy Central has confirmed that it has been working with Noah for a long time to figure out how he can maintain the demanding schedule. They added to Insider, there is no timetable for Noah's exit, and that the network and the host are working together on the next steps. Yeah, just like how Don Lemon is working with CNN. Just like how Don Lemon is working for CNN for the breakfast show. CNN is, or Don Lemon is going to be the new Charlemagne on the real Breakfast Club starting at 6:00 in the morning. Right, exactly, Sari. The joke is on him. As we look ahead, we're excited for the next chapter in the 25-year plus history of The Daily Show, as it continues to redefine culture through sharp and hilarious social commentary. So again, you have to have the social commentary match the news narrative. Now, let me ask you guys a question. When it comes to the late night shows on all of these networks, does the late night show messages match the news commentary? Does it match the major message of the network? If it does, give me a thumbs up. If it does not, give me a thumbs down. There's a reason for that. So now here it says social media responded to the announcement by paying tribute to Noah and speculating on who might replace him. Amber Ruffin and Samantha Bee were among the most popular choices. And as you can see, they're choosing women, just like how they put those two women on there with Don Lemon. But of course, they were white women. Current Daily Show correspondents like Roy Wood and Ronnie Ching were also suggested by many. So now what they've effectively done is they've given white businesses a way out of to boycott black employees by saying, well, the problem is that, woke isn't profitable. Black isn't profitable. Sorry. Sorry, black isn't profitable. Because we all know that when they say woke, they're dog whistling. So pay very close attention to the media and pay very close attention to the changes that you see. And also pay very close attention to how all of the graphs overlap. The political climate, the way that the media narrative is changing, the direction that all of the media companies are moving in, and then ask yourself the question, well, what's next with all of these narratives? What's next with all of these direction changes? What's next? I can't tell you what's next. But one thing that I can say about Don Lemon and Trevor Noah is that you had your time. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice, smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers. Definitely please drop some more radiation emojis for the excellent and amazing amount of support from my man Tony D and my man Keith Weston. Again, another shout out. Definitely appreciate that. And I will catch you all on the next video. All right. Peace.